is great. I'm broken inside. I give you my life. It's yours. It's yours. I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me, and my flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me, and my flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. Give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside. I give you my life. Oh, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside. Your love is great. I'm broken inside. I give you my life.
This is the only known depiction that we know of what the temple itself looked like. I mean, Josephus describes it, but somebody actually carves it into the stone above the high priest's tomb. And as I say, the place is pretty much trashed, but it all fits with the evidence. What's the biblical significance of this? It's consistent with the record of Annas being the former high priest included in Jesus' trial. Again, he's the father-in-law of Caiaphas. So Caiaphas he's the high priest, but he says, hey, Dad, why don't you come down and help me out with this one? You've got a lot more experience than I do. And then the site is called Akeladama, Field of Blood, which corroborates the biblical account of Judas after the arrest of Jesus. So we're going to add another person to this list. Although his name isn't in the dirt, we know that's where his tomb is, because Josephus, as I say, pinpoints it. All right? So we've got evidence of the crucifixion. Now let's look at the empty tomb. By the way, Gary Habermas, I may have talked about this guy before. Dr. Gary Habermas, who teaches at Liberty University, has been there for like 40 years, is the top guy in the world on the resurrection. He just released his first of four 1,000-page volumes on the resurrection. And the first one just came out. It's all about the evidence. So this guy is prolific. And these 2 points you see right here, crucifixion and empty tomb, these are admitted by most scholars regardless of whether they're Christians or not. In other words, when you look at the evidence, even scholars that don't even believe in God will say, yeah, Jesus was crucified. That's more certain than virtually anything else from ancient history. And the tomb was empty. The crucifixion is almost unanimously occurred. Not as many, but probably over 80% now. 75 to 80% of scholars, regardless of what they believe, say, yep, the tomb was empty. All right? Now, obviously, a lot fewer are going to say he rose from the dead. We'll come back later, Mike, if that's all right. Just hold the questions. Now, the question is, where was the tomb? Where was the tomb? Would people have known where the tomb was? Do you think? Yeah, of course. We think And ancient tradition and all the evidence points to the tomb being where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is now. We covered this last time, but let's look at another map because I love maps. Here is the place where Jesus was crucified and the place of Jesus' tomb. Notice it was outside the city walls because you didn't crucify people inside the city, and you didn't certainly bury them inside the city. You buried them outside the city. But in about 44 AD, these walls were expanded. So now it does include, the old city does include the tomb and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. All right? Remember we looked at this last time? This is the 4 trials that Jesus had to endure. After he was betrayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, they took him to the place of the high priest, Caiaphas and Annas. Then he went on over to Pilate out here in the Praetorium, and Pilate said, no, I got to send him to Herod, send him to Herod's palace. And Herod said, back to you, Pilate. He goes back to Pilate, and then Pilate ultimately sends him to Golgotha. This is where the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is today. Now, how many people have been to Jerusalem, particularly the King David Hotel? Has anyone been to the King David Hotel? You know where the King David Hotel is, right? Right outside the Jaffa Gate, not far outside the Jaffa Gate. Behind the King David Hotel is this tomb. You see the round covering, the big stone rock that would cover this tomb? This is not Jesus' tomb. Some say it was the tomb of Herod's family. Now, Herod was buried in the Herodium, which is miles from there, but his family may have been buried in here. Now, this is a typical first century tomb. The tombs were actually cut out of rock, which obviously was not an easy thing to do. Some had a large circular stone like this one that would roll down the doorway to seal it off. And expensive tombs could be solo or reserved for a family. Jesus' tomb was given to him by who? Joseph of Arimathea, rich man, right? He had a single chamber tomb. Those were really expensive. And nobody had used it before, according to both John and Luke. Nobody had used this tomb before. And tombs like this were available for the wealthy in Jerusalem. Now, here's the question. Is this what we see at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre? Is there a tomb like that? What does the Church of the Holy Sepulchre look like? Well, here it is. Does that look like a tomb? No. It doesn't look like a tomb at all. In fact, that's the big problem. As we pointed out last time, when you go to Church of the Holy Sepulchre, you're going, no way, this is not it. I mean, this is like so ridiculously commercial. It's like going to Myrtle Beach. You know, it's just... There's just stuff everywhere, and there's a lot of commotion. This is called the edicule. It's a building within a building, and inside this edicule, according to the evidence, that's where Jesus